Does your starship lack that extra power when it's ready for takeoff? Is it just flying away? Maybe you want to create fire but you don't know how to make good distortion materials? Then this tutorial is for you. We will learn how to make meshes and materials to make our thrusters look stunning. We will also learn how to make amazing distortion materials, and all of the skills required to make some amazing fantasy-like thrusters, along with dust originated from the thrusters hitting the floor. So what are you waiting for? We're gonna learn a lot of things together in this tutorial. I'll see you. So let's get started with downloading our assets from KitBash3D.com. And in my case, I would pick Mission to Minerva, but if you browse through here, you may be able to see other assets you may want to pick. But again, for the purpose of this tutorial, we will just use this one. And because there is a contest going on right now, the price is just 0. But don't worry, if you're watching this from the future, then we have coupons for you in the description. So don't worry. So we need to go on 3D software, pick Unreal, then go on Render and pick Native. Press Add to Cart and then you are ready to download. So once that's done, you can click on View My Kits, and in this case I have 2, but of course again we pick Minerva. Then we choose Software, then once again choose Native, and the resolution should be, in this case, just 2K. 2K for now is fine. And then go on Download. And once you download the project from KitBash, you will see a folder that contains an Unreal Engine 5 project. So if you right-click this and then switch Unreal version, you will see I'm using the 5.0. In the future, there might be other Unreal versions, so make sure that you're always using the latest. Then you can just click on OK and double-click and open the project. Welcome! So before anything, we're using this big ship from KitBash3D. Alright, and for these effects, we are already providing some textures and also one mesh. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be doing, I think, 4 effects, or maybe more, depending on what we exactly need. First one is gonna be like a big propulsion fire for when the engine turns on. And this fire is gonna be, or energy is gonna be hitting the floor, and it's gonna be generating some smoke and some particles. Those are 2 effects. And then we're gonna be having some constant propulsion for when the ship is just flying. And also if, I don't know, if the ship is just preparing to sail, can you say it like that? To sail, we're gonna have some constant smoke here and some dust, something really simple, right? Okay, so let's start. So we should start with the main part of the explosion, of the propulsors. I always forget that word. So just make your material folder and let's create our first material. So right click, material, M underscore. This is gonna be named Thrusters Low. I'm thinking that we may have 2 types of thrusters. So let's enter. This, we want it to be additive and also unlit. Okay. And for our main texture, I would like this one, the Sword Flare 2, which is a little bit wider than the other one. What we want to do with this material, or well, with this texture, is to distort it. Because if we look at the mesh, let's just select it and then click on this little icon so we can preview what's going on. Oh, and of course, hook this up. We can see that, well, okay, yeah, it fits. It's looking like an engine fire, sure, or well, almost. But we would like some distortion going downwards, right? To help us sell the effect. Okay. Oh, what am I doing? All right. So let's just make the distortion quickly. Just some really simple distortion. Let's create the fire, this fire mask. And we're gonna distort it. So we probably want this to pan, hold P, left click, connect it on the UVs, and just at one like this. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's multiply it on the red channel by 0.1, so it is really a really soft effect. We don't want a huge ass distortion. And let's add it to a texture coordinate. If we see that the distortion is distorting the texture too much to the point that it's skewed to a side, we can just modify it. But I think this is looking nice though. I see no issue with this. Although it should be on the inverse, right? The fire should be going downwards. So the panner needs to be -1. Yep. Okay. So that's something. Right now this is looking like PS2 though. But for now this is good. Okay. So the next part is we want to hook this to a derive HDR from LDR. Sure, we want the alpha on the input and we want the RGB on the tint. Okay. I may change my mind later, I'm not sure. Okay, so particle color, because we want it to interact with our Niagara effect. And let's say we're gonna multiply this and multiply again here. And let's just put it like this. Am I overdoing it? Probably. We shall see. And we can just hook this one directly on the emissive. Alright. Now we want to multiply again. In here, you probably want to make a hold one, left click. The value is 2. So we make this stronger. And we probably just want to hook this here. Okay, now it is a little bit more intense. All right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So now we should probably do this. Yeah, so just multiply again. We got the opacity here. I'm gonna multiply it with this. And this, we should just put it to the opacity. But there is one thing. So my main issue is that let's just test it with the mesh on the map. So bring the mesh here. Okay, let's just pull it up to the side. Okay, we can just try and fake as if this is coming from here, because it's gonna. So, okay, this is here. Let's put the material on this. And if we start panning around it, you can see the edges way too much, right? And this obviously again looks like an old tech effect, right? You can see those hard edges way too much. So we need to do a couple of tricks to hide that a little bit. Let's go back to the material. And for the opacity, we want to do a couple of things. So first, let's just bring a camera vector. Now let's bring, vertex normal world position. Okay, now let's make a dot product. Let's put them both. We need an absolute, so abs. All right, now we want a power. Oh, that's spanner. So power. Okay, now for the exponential, we just want to hold 3. Plug this in, and this is the key of our effect. Or well, we're gonna be modifying the material through this one. So for this, I want 8 and 8, and let's leave R on 8 as well. Okay, so 8, 8, 8. Fine. Now let's clamp it. It should remain like that, that's fine. Now we want to multiply this. Or actually, no, maybe we multiply this at the end. Okay, so let's just grab this here. And now finally just multiply it by a depth fade. And now finally we can just put it on the opacity. So, okay, we are clearly overdoing it here. If we just press apply and we check it out, okay, now we can see any hard edge, but it's almost as if it's disappearing, right? If you're watching it from the front, you cannot see the underside or any of the other sides, right? So let's just modify this red channel. We can just say this is 2 and press apply. So now the hard edges are way softer. Now this is a little bit more believable, although from this angle, not so much. We can just keep on tweaking it. If we increase it, it starts to disappear, right? So sure, maybe we can just do 3 and apply it. Although once we see the full effect, we can continue tweaking this. Yeah, that looks better. So for now, let's just say this is 2. Once done with our material, we should just make the VFX now. So let's create a new folder, Niagara. Let's enter, right click, Niagara system, new system, and let's pick a simple sprite burst. Click on the plus and finish. We're gonna name this NS Trust Spawn, and let's enter. So the first thing that we wanna do is just place it on the map. I just wanna see it on real time on the thruster so I can know if it's looking good enough, right? So let's just go up here. Maybe that place is fine. Okay, maybe it's fine. So we want a mesh, we do not want a sprite. We can just uncheck it and grab a mesh renderer. In here, we want to put the cone. Okay, there are plenty of cones, so let's just pick the one that we chose. Okay, SM cone. There we go. Now we need some materials, so enable material override. Click on the plus, expand, expand again, and let's place the material that we just made. Like that. Okay, so how does that look? Okay, let's just to be able to tweak this, I want this loop behavior to be multiple, maybe it just loops 10 times, and I want to rotate this, and it's not listening, so this needs to be local space activated. There we go, and let's just place it a little bit deeper. Maybe that place is fine. Yep, it seems like that place is fine. There we go. Okay, that's gonna have to be fine. Okay, so we should now tweak some values. Like we want this to grow over time, right? Like again, like a big explosion. So we should do that with scale mesh, but for now, let's say that, okay, maybe this lives for 0.8. This lives only for 0.8. Sure, let's undo what we did before. Okay, once the loop duration can be on 1. It's just to be ordered, at least for me. The sprite size, this can be maybe 200. Wait, is it changing? Oh, this is sprite size, my bad. It needs to be mesh, scale mesh mode. So this we want it to be non-uniform because we want to modify the 3 directions. And 1.9, yeah, it's bigger, so 1.92, so it is round. And for length, we will have to see 1.6 maybe? Okay, so I have an issue because whenever I do this, I use my two screens. So this is gonna have to loop. I'm sorry. Okay, infinite. All right. I think this size is not bad. I mean, again, we're gonna be scaling it over time, but this initial size is not bad. I believe it's not bad. Okay. So let's continue. The next thing that I want to do with this, I'm not sure if I want to animate it just yet. What if we make it rotate too? So mesh rotation force. And for this one, we probably just want something really simple. Maybe just a 2. It just rotates slowly, so it doesn't remain static, you know? Okay. Maybe we put it in a little bit more, actually. That. Yeah. Okay. Now, okay, yeah. I just delayed it, but let's just do the scale mesh. So scale mesh size. And in here, we probably just want a curve. So go for curve. Vector from curve is fine. Now, the X and the Y need to be the same. I just want to disable the C. Okay, I just want to group them up together. And the first one, probably just at 0. This is 1. They are the same size at 0. Sure. But then I want them to grow really fast in really short time. So I'm gonna click with my mouse wheel to create a new point for both lines, group them up, and say that at point 1, this is gonna be 1.3. So it's gonna grow really fast, almost as soon as it spawns. But I don't want it to shrink at the end. So maybe for the end, at 1, we just maybe say 2.2. Okay, this is way too much. And it feels like it is way too much because we haven't modified C at all. Okay, so let's modify C. Now let's hide X, hide Y, and place only C. And for this one, let's say that when it spawns at 0, this is not its normal length. It's maybe 0.6. And when it dies, or actually maybe right when it spawns, like at 0.1, this is 2. And it never goes past that point. By the way, if you start modifying high values on this curve and it starts to become way too big, press F so it fits again. Let's check it now. Okay, that's a little bit more believable. I like how that's looking. I wonder, well, we still need to modify the color, and I believe that we need to go back to the material, and in here, just want to hook at the saturation. And plug it here. And click on apply. Now it's gonna be white, and we need to put our own color there. Probably something emissive for sure, maybe something orange. So here, we just wanna, oh, look, I have the primary colors here, but okay. So on red, I put a 3, so it is already emissive, and probably around here is fine. Maybe that's good. Okay, but actually we shouldn't have modified that first, I think. I'm just gonna erase this. Okay. I'm gonna place this color here so I can save it. And we wanna create a color on update. Now you can see, okay, it's white again. And here we want to make a curve. Color from curve. Okay. And for this, it probably just starts like really bright because it's an explosion, right? It starts at its full strength and then slowly it fades away. So maybe we can do that. For here, okay, this is the same color at 3, but let's just say it's 30. It's really strong. Double click it to check because sometimes it bugs. Yeah, it's 30. Okay, fine. Now let's create another point. Maybe this point is at 0.5 and this is gonna be 3. So it becomes softer, right? 5. And I'm doing that with right click. And at the end, it's the same color. It's this, right? For the alpha, it just remains normal. Oh, it's changing the color in a bad way. So we put this. Okay, that's nice. So how is that looking? So when it just explodes, it is really strong and then it starts to fade away, but it is still emissive. Okay, I like it. That's looking good. Let me check it out. Yep. Okay, so I think that we are done with this spawn, with only this one. And let's make the next one. The next one I'm thinking it's gonna be longer. Although before moving into this, I still see that this has some mistakes. If we go inside, we don't see anything. So we should just select two-sided, click on apply, and it already looks way better. Okay. And also I prefer this side a little bit more rather than this one. I would like them to switch sides. So here on mesh renderer, go on index, and on rotation on the z-axis, put 90 and enter. Okay, that's way better. And also the colors I don't like so much. So the ones that I have already saved, it's just, yeah, this tone here. On the middle, it's this tone on 3, fine. And last, it's this one. Okay, that's looking nice. A little bit whitish, I like it. Now, let's just rename this. Let's say this is low thrust. Let's copy it, paste it with Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And this one is gonna be high thrust. Low thrust, high thrust. So this one I want it to be longer. And the color I have already saved some. So it is this orange more towards the yellow. Okay, same, but on 3. And at the end, yeah, like that. If we isolate it, yeah, it's yellowish. It's not that different, but it is still different when you combine them both. So let's change the mesh. For one, I want the C at 0 to be 0.6. Sure, that's fine. But once it reaches 1, or well, once it reaches its maximum shape at 0.1, I would like this to be longer. Let's just say 3. Let's just do it, 3. And for the X and the Y, it remains at 1, and it here maybe just 1.1. A really low difference. How does that look? Okay, that's looking way better. I don't like how it expands this way though. I would like it to stay a little bit thinner. A little bit thinner. So, oh, of course, it was because of this one. We never erased this. So just erase this last point. Like that, exactly. Okay, it's looking good. Although, I feel like this is a little bit too, it feels a little bit too straight here. We're gonna have to check that after. Yeah, we were gonna have to check that after maybe. So let's continue. We now want to make some kind of inner thruster. And this one could be like a different color, like a stronger one, right? That depicts a lot of energy. Okay, so let's honestly, our old thruster material should be fine. We just want to change a texture. And we probably want to take away these. So, well, click on apply if you haven't. Let's just duplicate this and say this is gonna be the inner. And for this one, we just want to change the texture. And also we want to, yeah, this sword flare. They're almost identical, but I want to get rid of all of this, because this is just going to be a sprite, right? And we can just hook this here. Okay, there we go. So it looks like this. Click on apply. Let's go here and let's create a new emitter. Right click, add emitter. Same thing, simple sprite burst. And let's put our new material, this one. We can isolate it. It's loading the shaders, fine. Okay, can we take a look at it now? Yep. So compared to what we were doing, this is really small. We need to crank up the values by a lot to make it look good. So first we can start by the lifetime. This is gonna be random, or maybe just direct 0.6. Not much, that should be fine. And let's say this is fine. The sprite size mode should be non-uniform. We want to modify the X and the Y separated. So maybe 60 here, maybe, so it grows really big. Although, how big is it though? Oh, and it should be rotated, because our effect is going towards the bottom, right? So initialize particle, sprite rotation mode, we can say direct angle, 180. Now it's rotated, sure. Let's make it also be infinite so we can continue previewing it. Okay, it's taking longer to appear because of our loop duration. We can just say this loop is also 1, although probably it's fine. So, okay, sure, it's appearing like that, but I would like it to, well, go lower, right? So initialize particle, position offset, local. If we put it like this, yep, it goes down. Okay, it's nice. So maybe 250 could be. And now we need to play with the scale sprite size and just make it really huge to match our previous explosion, right? So sprite, scale sprite size. Oh, I just modified the mesh. Control C. My bad. So here on particle update, sprite size, scale sprite size. Wait, did I modify this one? Okay, no. Okay, I'm glad. So probably if this has 0.8, maybe this should have 0.8 too. Okay, now let's make it bigger. So scale sprite size. We do not want this to be uniform because we want to modify X and Y, so non-uniform curve. Okay, so for Y, this is just gonna be something somewhat straight. We just want it to be, what? Always 3, I think. Oh, sorry, like that. Always 3. Perhaps a little bit bigger. We will see after. And for X, let's say that this starts at 3 2, sure. But it grows to what? Something huge. Could be 10, could be 6. Let's try 7. This may be a little bit too big, huh? That, and it is not following the same way as our mesh. And that is because of, well, a lot of things. First of all, we can also see that there is some distortion here. The material is a little bit broken. We need to fix it. Sure. Let's make this go lower. What, 300? Wait, this is the size. I'm not doing this right. So Control C again. And on the... Wait, okay, I know what's happening. Was I modifying the position of... I was modifying the position of the high thrust. No wonder this was starting to look a little bit weird. Okay, so the high thrust, it needs to be 0. No position offset. It's just like normal. But this inner thrust that we need to change the name, this one needs the position offset. Okay, on local, let's see, 200, it goes up, so it's minus 100. Okay, finally. No wonder, that was looking really odd. Okay, so 2 problems, right? This is not following the same axis as our other thrusters. So what do we fix first? I think first let's fix the material that it's really annoying me. So we need to make a small configuration here on this distortion. As you can see, it's this distortion that is playing with our texture a little bit too much. So let's unplug this. Let's go over here actually. So let's go component mask, Control C, Control V. This is R only, this is G only. Plug both. Okay, now add again. And I want this to be -1. I want this to be also -1. And another add. And I forgot, this is, sorry, this is R. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? This is X, direction X. This is direction Y. Plug both of those. Now we need to append both of these. And finally, just hook it here. Okay, now we should apply it and make a material instance out of this. Okay, double click to enter. Now let's enable both of these. And this, I think this is fine. We should not move it, but we should move the Y. Yeah, probably that is fine. Yeah, we need to move this one, I think. So just revert it. Oh, actually, okay, there we go. This should be fine. Okay, save it just in case. And let's use this instance on our emitter. Now there is no breakage at the bottom. Perfect. Let's rename this. This is the inner thrust. And again, if we take a look at this sprite is just following our camera, and it shouldn't. So we need to add another module here on this spawn. Let's click on the plus and go sprite facing and alignment. Let's enter it. And in here, we need to say this is 0, this is 1, C on 1. We want to enable the sprite alignment, and this is 1. And that should be it. Okay, so it is still not following us, and that is because we haven't modified our renderer here. The alignment needs to be custom. And now it still does not follow us. So we need to check exactly what is going on there. Maybe we left something on. Yeah, we left this one on, so that one is 0. And it is still not following us. Most likely, it's... Oh, okay, it's because this particle is not local spaced checked. So once we do that, there we go. Okay, but we need to make this lower and make it way thinner. So lower, let's go maybe 330. Could be. Minus 400. Okay, a little bit less. Okay, that's it. 330. And it cannot grow so much. It should not grow so much. So this is, okay, same 00011, whatever. Oh, I just created, what? I created 2. Okay. Okay, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And this sprite size, the X should not be growing so much. What, 5? It's still a little bit too distracting, right? Because it's overpowering the base of the thrusters. So 3. And perhaps the power should not be so strong. It should be something softer for sure. So right now this is overpowering our effect way too much. And we could modify the color a little bit, but I think that the material is way too strong. So this multiplication, probably just put it on 1. And we do not really want to change this color, so the saturation, we erase it, and we just hook this. I'm sorry, we just hook this like this. Is that way softer? It does not look way softer at all. But let's keep checking here. Okay, well, it's certainly softer. But we can still make this a little bit softer like that. Yep. Okay, let me watch it a little bit more. It's too strong still. This is too strong. We probably need to play with the alpha a little bit and make it just softer. So sure, color over here, but the alpha 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. Oh, we have scale color here. Okay, so 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. It is not working. I do not see any update. 10. Okay, I see update, sir. But this thruster, perhaps we make a 0.2 here. 0.1. Okay, like this, it looks nice. Now it's way too soft. So back to 1. Okay. Yeah, perhaps something like this. It's dying too slow though. So let's modify that. This probably dies earlier. 7. And the size... Wait, both X and Y are like this? I don't think that's right. We need to modify the X a little bit too. Okay. Don't let it start at 3. It starts at 2. So it has at least some kind of animation, right? 3.5. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's make it go up a little bit more. So let's undo a little bit of what we've done. 280. Okay, I think this is looking nice now. We can put it a little bit up. Okay. Alright, this is way better. Now we should make some kind of distortion for this effect, because after all, this is a lot of power coming off, right? So we should make some kind of heat waves or something like that. Let's make a new material for that. So let's go on materials, right click, material, M underscore distortion. I hope I wrote it right. And for this one, we want it to be translucent. And also, I think default lit is just fine. So the configuration is gonna be somewhat similar. It's not gonna be that much different. Let's bring our water texture. And this, just hook it on the normal. It's not gonna be available yet. I'm gonna do it after. Okay. So this material needs to have no opacity. Hold 1, left click. Yes, let's put it there. Sure. Now let's hold L for a lerp and hook it on refraction. Now we can put it on normal. And this lerp, let's finish this one first. So panner, let's hook it here. And let's put it at texture coordinate. Okay, the coordinate is fine, but the panner maybe just slowly moving, 0.5. Well, not that slow, right? But still. Okay, and we want again to distort our sword flare. So let's just bring it, sword flare, here. We drop it. And actually, we're making the same configuration we did on the thrusters inner. So let's just copy all of this and paste it here. We saved so much time with that. And let's just hook it here on the UVs. We got the same distortion. We're gonna make a distortion that looks the same as this shape. So now let's multiply this here on B. Let's make radial gradient, and I would like to copy in here the values that we had before. So for X, we copy this. Sure. And, oh, sorry. And for Y, we copy this one. So it is a little better aligned, right? Okay. We have the radial gradient. We don't need to move anything there. Now we need a mask. So component mask. Let's only filter the R. And this, finally, we can multiply it like this. The lerp goes for the alpha. And we're multiplying it by a particle color. So, and this one needs to go, oh, sorry. This one goes here. All right, so that's done. And well, we can still see the hard edges on our material. And we do not see the shape at all. Well, we sort of see it on the middle. So here on the lerp, we just need to change this to 1 and 1.6. And now it's gonna be a little bit harder to see, but over here, for example, you can see the shape of the texture now. So now we have a refraction with no edges. Okay, click on apply, and we have it. I think that we want to copy this inner thrust, and we want to make this the distortion. So rename it to inner thrust distortion, and let's put the material of it in here. Okay, let it load the shaders, and let's see once it's done how it looks. Is it done? It's done. Okay, we cannot see it much, if at all, right now. Let's isolate it. Okay, we can see it here, but we need it to be bigger, of course, right? Otherwise it's pointless, we cannot see it. So let's on scale sprite size, the X, let's make it a 3.5 maybe, Okay, sure, it's a little bit bigger. And maybe also a little bit longer. So for Y, let's create a point. And at 1, sure. No, maybe at 0.3, this can be like 5. How does that look? Is it too long? Maybe a little bit wider, don't you think? So on X, once again, on 0.3, let's just do a 4.5. That's, I think, too much, but let's make it 0.1, so it is really quick. Okay, maybe this is better. Can we check it with the Hall effect? Well, you can see it here at the bottom, sure. You cannot see it much over here, so let's make it even bigger. Initialize particle, let's just make this 150, just way bigger. Is that too much? No, that's good. We can see it on the edges. Yeah, I like that. It's not too over the top. But is it me or the distortion is on the inverse? So the speed of this alpha needs to go on the opposite direction, does it? Or is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Let's see. 1. And apply. Let's see. Let it load. Yeah. Okay, that's fixed now. Okay, nice. I just want to make sure that it isn't too big though. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I guess that's fine. I would like maybe the scale is fine. The scale is good. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so we are done with the distortion. We are done with the main thrusters. Let's make some sparks. Although I feel like this should be a little bit bigger. But maybe if we combine both, this is just fine. So let's do sparks now. So let's get on the Niagara system. And you know, actually, if we take a look at this effect right now, I'm gonna take a screenshot. There we go. We can see that this mesh is a little bit too noticeable, and this one too, to some degree. And we have two choices. We can modify it through the materials on that vector 3 constant that we saw, that we were modifying earlier, or we can add more elements. Well, we're adding more elements, right? But if after adding those elements, we still see that things are too straight, too squarish, then we do need to modify the material, right? For now, we can just keep this in mind. But let's add the sparks. So we don't want any fancy material for the sparks, we just want something normal. So add emitter, again, simple sprite burst. And let's say this is speed sparks. Okay. It's the same basic material. You could change it if you want and maybe make a more interesting material, but I think that this is good enough. So we want this to repeat, so we can check it, and after, once we're done, we can just put everything to once. For now, infinite, fine. And we can see it spawning here on top. All right, so we want to spawn like plenty. So, but first I think it's better if we just modify the size of it and the location. So let's say that this is gonna be random uniform, could be 1 and 3. So they're really small. We just want to spawn a lot of them, right? So they should be small. And the lifetime should be short too. What about 0.2, maybe 0.7? For the color, let's just do like, oh, okay, so it resets. Let's just put here a 3. So it's a blue that is emissive. We can sort of see it here, although it's really small. Now let's make a shape location here. Shape location, it's gonna be a sphere, that's fine. We can just say this is probably 80. We don't want any of these, okay. Now let's just put the 1500. Okay, and it's not spawning because we have our meter state loop duration to 2. Let's just put it to 1. There we go. Okay, it's spawning a little bit too high, so let's move the sphere. Let's move it. Where is it? Transform. Offset mode. Let's just put default. And let's put here local. Minus 200. No, minus 100. There we go. That's good. All right, so now we should add some kind of velocity. And then as an update, we should probably put an acceleration force or something like that. So add velocity here. It should be linear. Linear is fine. But in here, we need a random range vector. Like this. This is good. So minus 500. Sure. Minus 500. This is 200. Making sure. Oh, we want this to be. Oh, apparently this is fine. Okay. So 500 here, 500 here. Okay. So where is this? Oh, we need to do it on the inverse. Okay. So minus here and here minus 2. So we see that it's going downwards. Fine. How is it looking on the big picture? Okay. But we need some extra forces to help us sell the effect. And also, if you notice, and we can pause this here when it spawns, they are just round sparks. Maybe we want this to be elongated, right? As if they were real sparks with speed. So we can do that in a little bit. Yeah, but this is helping a little bit, sure. Let's first add the extra force here in the particle update. So let's probably just do acceleration force. Just something simple, nothing too fancy, at least for now. We just want them to accelerate minus. Okay. So they go even faster as time goes by. And probably we also put a small drag on it. Maybe a drag 2. Okay, so it's looking like it has some speed, some strength. But wait, are they spawning a little bit odd? No, it's fine. Okay, so now let's add here in the particle update, we need a scale sprite size by speed. This one here. And in here, well, what about something a little bit too extreme? So what about 10? What about here, 0.1? 1, 2, this is fine. So if we look at them, they're not really following along. So it must be on the renderer. Here, face camera. No, alignment, velocity alignment. There we go. Okay. I think this is looking fine. The color may be a little bit too exaggerated. It may be just a little bit too strong. We can modify that a little bit later though. I would like to add some collision as well. So here on particle update, collision. We just put 2 on the particles on the radius scale. And restitution, Probably just 0.2, so they don't bounce too much. Yeah, they just bounce a little bit, it's fine. If you want, you can make them live longer. We should just fix now the size, because they're just way too big. So in here, probably we can just put them even smaller. So what about 0.4? And here 0.6. Are they way thinner now? They're way thinner. Yeah, I think this is way closer to what we want. Okay. Let me make sure that the forces are on local. Yeah, of course. Okay, local makes more sense. And this velocity is also, yeah, this is fine too. Okay, yeah, I had the feeling that the sparks were going on a weird direction. Okay. So when this bursts, okay, it looks fine. Maybe they can leave a little bit more. So some leave 0.9. Can that work? Yeah. All right. So now I have an issue with this. My issue is that this spawn is just happening out of nowhere, right? There is no energy building inside. It's just appearing out of nowhere. And I don't really like that. I would like to have some kind of a cue that is telling us that, oh, something is about to happen. It does not need to be slow. It can be fast, but something needs to happen before this main big effect happens, you know? So we should do that. And I'm also thinking, what if we add some other color of sparks? Okay, first, let's do that initial spawn. Now, what I want to do before starting any of that, I want to have some kind of loop delay. So I have some time for those extra particles to spawn. Right now, there's no time, right? It's just instant. It's just spawning every single time. So I want to go on emitter state. And sure, this is infinite for now, but I would like a loop delay of probably 0.4 on everyone. So for each one of them, 0.4, loop delay, 0.4, loop delay, 0.4, and loop delay also 0.4. Okay. So now it starts, there's a small pause, right? If I just press spacebar here, well, it is true that it doesn't spawn right away, but I feel like maybe we need a little bit more loop delay. Well, it's fine. Let's start checking that new spark or that new effect that we're planning, and then maybe we can put more delay. We'll see. For now, what if we just clone those sparks? So just Control C, Control V. I'm still not sure what we'll make. Just gonna name it Buildup Sparks. And what we can do with this, maybe since these are blue sparks that are flying away at really high speeds, maybe this could be yellow sparks, and they are the initial ones, right? So, okay, so 0 on the loop. So how does it look now? Okay, so it bursts, and then the other one, right? All right. It looks a little bit wonky right now because of the infinite loops and whatever. It would be way easier to visualize if I could show you both of my screens, right? And I just put Niagara on the other one and then just preview this one, right? But we'll have to do it this way. Okay, if I just press again, if I press spacebar on the window, it just restarts, right? That shows me the real start of the effect. Okay. Is there enough time? I think there is enough time, you know? This is fine. Okay. So, what do we want to do with this effect especially? I think spawning a lot of them is just fine. And probably they won't live so long as the other one. Not by much though. Sure, we're putting, maybe these sparks need to be more emissive, so probably a 10. Something way stronger. Sure, the size is just fine. I think we just need to play with the timings. And that's it pretty much. So the velocity, it's fine, okay. Maybe it needs to have a little bit more drag, probably a 3, so they don't fly as much. The acceleration force, we can definitely reduce it a little bit. So probably just 800. That could be. Okay, so it's like it's just small sparks. And now you can kind of see the motion, right? Okay, now we need something on the base. We just need something on the base that feels this effect. Let's save. And we're gonna probably just clone this once again and make something small out of it. Let me preview this effect a little bit more. I'm thinking before we do this other build-up, I want a smaller set of sparks appearing, I think, before this main one. What if this one, we just put it on... Oh, this has no loop delay. Yeah. What about 0.2? I really like this motion. Like first explodes and then the other one. Okay. Alright, so let's build this one this time. And this one is gonna be different, not by much, but still different. So we are spawning again a lot of sparks. Oh, we made a mistake. This should not be CPU, this should be GPU. So let's start changing it. GPU, fixed bounds. I think we add 1, 0 is fine. If the particle is not appearing at the distance that you want, you probably want to increase it. Up to you. So again, GPU, I should have done this before copying, but well, it happens. So again, 1, 0, one more 0, another, and this is the last one, yes. So GPU, fixed bounds, 1, 0, another, another. Oh. Okay. So this one, I think we want this to live way less, so 0.4 is something really small. 0.4. The size, well, the size should be just about the same. That's fine. The speed, I think maybe this needs a lot more drag. I want them to stop like halfway this current distance. So what 10? Yep, something like that. Something like that. And I want it to have a different motion. So what about a vortex force? Vortex force, let's make this be okay. Okay, that's very nice. So vortex force, it has collision. Let's see how everything looks now. I don't like that it has the same color of the other yellow sparks. So let's make something a little bit more, probably just back to 3. This is looking very good. Now I think we need one more element. Maybe some different sparks on the very top that are going maybe for a different direction, like going inside of the thrusters or something like that, like as if it is accumulating energy. That, and probably I don't want the size by speed on these ones. How does that look? Yeah, okay. Let's just velocity aligned, unaligned. Yeah, I think this is nice. So how does it look? Okay, so now a last one, and it's these energy sparks that are going inside. It should be something fairly simple. Okay, so this one is gonna be, okay, small sparks, maybe. Okay, I wanna copy this one, I think. So copy, paste. Oh, it's not pasting, so copy and paste again. There we go. And this one is gonna be absorb sparks. All right. And what can we do with, I'm gonna isolate this again. And this should probably be very few sparks. What, 100? Something really small like that. 100, and maybe they leave even less, 0.1, 0.3. The color should be softer as well. Probably a 3 around here. That's good. The size, I think I would like the size to be bigger, and I want to disable this scale sprite size by speed. I want them round and aligned. Yeah, and I want them bigger. So here, probably 5, 10. Yes, yeah, something like that. Although now that I think of it, maybe not. Maybe we do speed. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna enable it again. Yeah, okay. Let's try it. So the sphere is fine. Although maybe just a little bit smaller could be. And the velocity should also be way different. So I don't want it to go everywhere this time. Just up. So 0 and something really extreme like minus 4K. Something like that, yeah. Something like that. And let's see. Why is this going in a weird direction though? It's not going straight. Oh, it's because of the acceleration force, isn't it? But it shouldn't. Local, let's go on 0. Is it because of this sphere? How is it looking here though? It's repeating, it's infinite. Yeah, it's really weird. Okay, I need to check that. So what did I do? Oh, this is still scaling here, so maybe, yeah, it's velocity alignment, isn't it? Is it repeating? Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I got scared for a second. All right, so what were we doing? Yeah, this speed should be different, sure. Acceleration force, we probably just want something incredibly extreme. What about like that? So first it is going down at high speeds and then it's going up. Yeah, something like that. Although it's looking a little bit wonky. And we probably want more drag. So like 10. It has collision, sure. I think that this sphere needs to be way lower because we can't see anything here. So let's move it. Minus 100, minus 300, maybe? Yeah. It needs to be tighter, though I'm not enjoying this so much. It needs to be tighter. And minus 220. Okay, just keep in mind that this is relative to where I've put it on the map, so it may be different for you. This really quick looks nice, but it needs to be again tighter. So the speed in which it's going down, it's way too much. Minus 2K. Yeah, I'm liking that. So shall we try the full effect now? This should not have any delay. This should be... What are these? Oh, these are the very small sparks. This should also be a little delayed. I just want this absorb to happen first. Okay, I'm gonna put the Niagara window on my other monitor and just press spacebar so we see it updated on the screen. Yep, something like that. I do not see the blue sparks though. Something happened there. I'm gonna have to check that. So I went ahead and just on every emitter I just put not infinite but once on the loop behavior on every single one of them, so it finally behaves the way it should. And we still have the issue that that these sparks aren't showing. And at first I thought maybe this is just the collision module that we set, where is it? Here, that we set the sprite bounds to be way too big. But looking at it better, if our sparks have collision enabled, they're colliding inside here because they are spawning way back. So we either move the emitter a little bit or we move the whole particle a little bit. You can just keep previewing. You can only see a few spawning. So let's try moving it a little bit. Like maybe like this. Now we see all of them spawning. And it looks quite nice. But we need it to be a little bit more up. Like here. That is looking fine. So what if we have two of them? Like that. Let's disable that. That's looking quite nice. And what do you say? Do we still see this straight mesh? I think the sparks have managed to hide it a little bit. But it still does not look so good. So I would like to check that a little bit more. Okay, so it's a shame that it's not constant anymore. But that's a little downside. Okay, but we can still make these two to be infinite. We only need these two anyways. I know that the sparks are definitely masking it a little bit, but still. So exactly where should this start? Maybe like here is fine. Okay. And from this side, it definitely is looking a little bit too straight. So let's check it. Oh, and one thing, I think that the red mesh is looking fine, but the yellow one isn't. Is it because the yellow one is just way brighter? No, that's not the case. They're actually somewhat similar. They're the same color. Oh, it's not here. My bad. It's here. So this one is 30. They're about 30, aren't they? They're about 30. Okay. What am I gonna do is just modify the material. But I'm going to make this one a copy. And say this is thruster. What was the name of this one? High thing? I can't remember. Okay, high it's gonna be. You can name it the right name, please. And I'm gonna apply this material to this thruster. It was named high thrust. Yeah, okay, thrusters high. And this, we should probably do a 4 and see how that looks. Let it load. Okay, that's a lot better, actually. Okay, right now we can see, yeah, it's still a little bit straight here, but now it has darker shapes inside and it kind of camouflages it a lot more. Before it was completely straight and very bright. So maybe that was a good addition. Okay, this is looking very nice. All right, now that this is done, wait, once, and here once as well. Are the sparks still getting stuck? Do we need to lower the... Yeah, they're still getting stuck, I think. So let's lower the emitter a little bit for both sparks. So it's here, it's this, it's the build-up too. The small sparks are fine, aren't they? Let's look at each one of them. Okay, this one is spawning just fine. The absorb ones are fine too, and these do not need collision. Just in case. These don't need either. So how are those looking now? Okay, perfect. And this one, perfect too. Now, this one, but this is looking fine too. What about the blue ones? Makes me think this is not the whole. Okay, let's see it again. Nope, I don't think they're all spawning. I just did a Ctrl+C so it moves back to its spot. Okay, I'm gonna move this a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. So shape location sphere minus 120 probably. Hope that doesn't break it. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so now the whole effect. Now we have a small build-up and then it explodes. This looks very nice. Maybe if you want, you can make it bigger. That's up to you. That's looking very good. You can see the full motion, right? It goes in and then it goes out really strong. Yeah, I really enjoy this. Okay, so our next step is to make well, we still have 3 more particles to make. Although those 3 more particles should be way more simple than we oh lord, than what we have just made. So what do we do first? Probably the dust. Let's just make some really small dust because, again, this just appears, right? And since it has so much heat and so much power, maybe we could have some dust just moving backwards, right? And maybe a little bit to the sides, keeping in mind that, for example, the map in where this ship is, it's probably just a desert, you know? You should probably see Mao's map then, if you haven't. So yeah, we can make some really quick dust. Now for the dust, we want this texture that comes from Epic. We just wanna material and let's say dust. And let's enter. In here, this type of material should be translucent and also unlit. You can leave it D2-sided off, it's fine, since the cloud is gonna follow our camera. Let's bring in both cloud textures. So the normal cloud and also the smoke sub-UV. Okay. Let's put it like this. So I wanna subdivide this cloud in the same shape as these ones. So I wanna hold S, left click. Let's say X, S, left click. Okay, let's append them. All right, now let's add these to a texture coordinate. Like that, perfect. Now let's multiply this by a floor and another constant. And this one is gonna be, oops, opacity. All right. That should be it for this. Well, we can't see anything here. Let's just preview it. So yeah, nothing. We need to modify some things. First of all, the opacity, probably 1.1 or maybe 1.2. Okay, now we can see something. And now on these directions, probably 1.2. And what about here? 2.9. Oh, nothing is changing, so just put it on 0, 0. We need to modify first the texture coordinate, and then we can do more things. So 8 and 8. Because this below is 8 by 8 as well. Okay, and we can see 8 of these here. Sure. And we're probably gonna use this later to modify the position so they match perfectly together. Not yet though. So now wanna add them together here and also here. Now wanna drag a particle color so we can control it on Niagara, and we want to multiply this, the alpha. And this alpha, we want this to fade whenever we are close, right? We don't want it to have a texture on our faces, right? So we wanna put a pixel depth. We wanna create a sphere mask. And on B, we just want a constant of 0. Okay, and for this sphere mask, probably just to 30, and here only 10 hardness. Let's invert it. And by the way, I have a lot of tutorials explaining materials more in depth, if you want to check them out. Okay, perfect. Now we need to multiply this by the opacity of the particle color, like this. Now again multiply this by a depth fade, like that. Now we just want to clamp it. That's the last step for the opacity. Okay, perfect. Now for the particle color, it should be just simple. Just multiply this with this. And just put it on emissive. And finally, that's it. We get close, it disappears, fine. And now, well, I don't want this to disappear right now. I wanna unplug this for a little bit. Okay. Now I wanna modify these directions. So this is probably again 1.1, 1.2. Well, I want all of them to be different, right? So this one probably 2.9. They look enough. All right. So this should be it for our cloud material. It's something fairly simple that looks quite nice. And of course it's epic texture, so they look really good too. So let's now create our effect. Should be way more simple than what we've done with the thruster. So just right click, Niagara. We want probably just, as always, a simple sprite burst. Maybe I'm just too used to that one. NS, let's name it dust spawn. Yeah, that should be fine. Although, just to be ordered. Okay, dust spawn. Let's open it up. Let's plug our material like that. When it loads, okay, it loaded. We see it's 8 by 8. So on the sprite renderer, we need to sub-UV 8. Oh, no, 8 by 8, not 98. And we're always seeing the same sprite. So on the update, we need to type animation and select sub-UV animation. We don't need to change anything here. It's just changing smoothly. Okay. We're almost on. This one is really simple. So again, we just want it to spawn once, like one quick burst. Probably just 10. And we want a shape. So shape location. Maybe a cylinder is fine. And we don't want it to have any kind of height. The radius is probably fine. We can see them spawning like that. Well, I don't like that so much, but for now it's fine. So distribution random, although we could make something else here, but you know, it's all right. Let's just place it on the map and see how awful it looks. So this should be right below our thrusters, right in here. Or more like in here, right? Because where is our thruster? I'm gonna put it on my other screen and I'm just gonna press play. You're not missing anything. Yeah, so maybe around here. Of course, I'm just moving it like this to preview it, right? You should just put it on a blueprint and yeah, you know the drill. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, I think this is fine. Just want to check something quickly. This is distortion, I think. Okay, it's fine. So the dust. Where is it? Let's just make it small. Okay, so it is certainly really small. The radius may be a little bit too small, but first let's play with velocity and with sizes. So on initialized particle, the most basic thing, let's just make it random. Some 0.3, some 1, that's good. We need to play with the transparency later on. And for the sprite size, what if they're all 300? They're not so small anymore, huh? They're way too close to each other. This is causing a lot of overthrow, unnecessary overthrow, right? For now, it's okay. So let's put it here. A little bit too low. Like that. Okay, so if this is dust and there has been a huge impact, it should disperse, right? Okay. So we're gonna add some velocities to it. Okay, it's bounced. Now we should just add a velocity from point. So add velocity from point, and this, what, 500? Yep, something like that. So it just disperses really quickly. In 1 second, they're gone. Okay. Now we need to, well, we need to do several things like scale the sprite size, maybe add some gravity force. Let's start with probably with the scale sprite size. Okay, so it should be something fairly simple. So scale sprite size, and when this starts, let's say this is 0.5. Okay, and when it dies, what? 2. Yep. So it grows over time, right? I'm just gonna put this on infinite so we can preview it. It's a little bit annoying to work like this. Okay. The color is a little bit too strong. It's dispersing too much. There are several things wrong with this. Okay. But the size, I think, is fine, at least for now. So now let's put some kind of acceleration then. Acceleration force. And this velocity from point, I think it's fine. All right. So where is it? Acceleration force. This, we want some random range vector. So random range vector. Spawn only is fine, but we do not want it on world. We want it on local. And, you know, just put this like this, I think. Because after all, I'm gonna put a screen here. After all, this is hitting like this, right? So I'm guessing that it should have more dust this direction rather than here, here, or here, right? I see it running on the wrong direction. Okay. Oh, we should probably make this GPU too. So GPU, bounds, maybe just 1K. Okay. And it's flying on the wrong direction, I feel. So acceleration force. Do I just put a minus here? Yep. So now mostly it's going backwards, supposedly, right? Let's see. If I put here minus 300, there should be none there. Okay, I think this is working fine. All right, so let's put this back to maybe minus 100 is fine. Let's add now some drag, a lot of drag. This will help us visualize it a little bit better too. So 10 drag. Okay, I like it. 10 drag is fine. Let's add now some kind of gravity force, but some force that instead of pulling it downwards, it pulls it upwards. So gravity force, let's say this is just 200. Okay. I think this is looking fine. We just need some color and maybe a bigger radius. So let's see. For the color, though, we probably want something that is just barely visible. I'm just gonna erase this. So it should be around here, like that. And the alpha should be like 0.2. Yep, so you barely see this. Something like that, I feel. Like, let's just lower this tone a little bit. This one too. Like this. Yeah, I think this is going in the right direction. So, okay, this is constant. I'm gonna be spawning the thruster and see how that looks. Oh, I almost had it. One more. There we go. Not convincing enough, I feel. No. Not convincing enough. So I wonder what else can we do to make this look better? Maybe we just increase the size of this, 150, perhaps a little bit more, and perhaps a little bit more force, minus 2.2. Or do we make it linger for more time? That could be it as well. Let's test that and see how that looks. So what, 2 seconds and 1.2 maybe? Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. But you know, there's an issue because as soon as these thrusters are spawning, they're going to be constant. So we're going to have another particle for that, which means that this initial dust spawn, I don't think that it should linger for much longer, so we don't do more overdraws, you know? So let's see. Let's just go here. Let's say we bring it back to 100, and the velocity, I think we dial it up, but the acceleration force, we dial it down. I feel like it should have a force downwards and then pull upwards. Yeah. So let's, and well, what if we add some rotation to it too? Does it break it? Let's check it. So sprite rotation mode, random. That's looking a little bit better already. But let's have the gravity pull upwards eventually, and have some kind of acceleration that pulls it down too, and see how those two interact. This is only at spawn anyway. So let's see. We put 1K here. Okay, that's good. So let's test minus 1K. I'm enjoying how this looks. This looks very nice, and it's very soft too. If we look at it from up, that's fine. I don't want to put more particles, to be honest. Let's now add some dust, though. I'm pretty sure that dust is gonna help us mask a lot of things. Add emitter, single sprite burst. You can name this however you want. Okay, for the sake of consistency, I'm gonna name this, and this is impact smoke, and this is gonna be impact dust. All right, and this dust, once again, fairly simple. We wanna put GPU, bounce, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. There we go. Now for the burst, Probably just 200, not too many. For the initialization, I pronounced that pretty weirdly, huh? So 0.3, we want this to be a little bit darker as well. Why can't we? Oh, okay. There we see it. And we don't want this dust to be an infinite anymore, just once. Okay, now we can see them together, sure. The size, random, 1 and 5 is probably fine. We want a shape, location. This shape should probably be a sphere, that's fine. 100 should be okay. This seems like a good radius. It's the same one as the impact smoke, so that's fine. And let's add again from point velocity, and this velocity is from point. Again, maybe 500, so it goes everywhere. But we put a drag, which we should just copy paste this the other stack, to be honest. Drag, probably just 10 again. Yeah, so it stays still. And then we have some kind of acceleration force that just pulls it everywhere, right? So acceleration force, local. We want random range vector, 1K. So how is this looking? Oh, I keep doing this, don't I? Okay. It's taking it on the wrong direction. So we just wanna put minus here. But still, it should have more spread. I don't like this so much. And also, you know, the impact shouldn't make them stay on the middle and then move. The impact should be making them start going towards a direction and then slowing down. So probably the from point is a bad choice. Probably just linear. And we make this uniform. Okay, it's fine. And what? Minus 300. 300, 300, 300. Or maybe from point is just fine, right? I just made a mistake, don't I? Didn't I mean? No, this is actually fine. But let's put more velocity towards... No, I can't see anything of this. Okay, never mind. Let's put more velocity towards the back. So in this, it's minus x, I think. So minus 2k. Yep. Yeah, this is quite enjoyable. Let's make the radius bigger though. Radius bigger and more sparks towards more directions. So minus 600. Upwards, that does not need to be 600. And the sphere, what, 200? Maybe? Is that too much? I enjoy that. Can we make this have like a curl, like a vortex force? Or is it curled? I think it was curl noise force. I cannot recall. I think it's curl. Let's just put a little bit more strength. 10. Yep. Now for the final touch, let's just make them be darker. Like that. Very faint, which is the idea, right? We don't want them to be so big. They should also fall. Like have some motion towards the side, right? Because supposedly it's wind just taking them, right? So lastly, some gravity force. Not so much. Maybe like that. Is that good enough? A little bit more, but yeah, it's towards the right direction. Like that. Yeah. Although the dust is going bottom and the little motes are going bottom, but the smoke is going upwards. So let's just follow along the smoke. Yep. Okay, this is looking good enough, you know, for the impact. I really enjoy this. Now we need to just make the constant version of each one of them, and I think that's fairly simple. That's not gonna take us much time. Let's just save all of this. Let's make the constant thrusters this time. So I just really want to duplicate this so we don't do all the work again. So let's just name it constant and let's enter. So the first thing that I want to do, the first thing that I want to do is just place this on the map. So here, right on the thrusters. Okay, we cannot see anything right now. So for now, just put it here. And let's modify some things so we can finally see something. First of all, this was only on the build-up, so we can erase this too, I think. No, yeah, we can just erase it. I'm not sure if we're gonna put this one. We'll see. But for now, let's focus on the first module. So this one, we do not want this to be a once loop anymore. Just put infinite. It loops forever. It's fine. And now we can finally preview this. So here, just make it a little bit lower. Okay. Maybe like that is just fine. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I pressed hide. Okay, my bad. We can just leave it there for now, I think. For now, it's fine. Okay, back to this. So we do not want this to be a spawn burst anymore. This should be a spawn rate, so it is constant. And let's say that it spawns 2. Okay, so I want to see it. I don't see it spawning anything. Okay, that's weird. The burst appears. Oh, there we go. It was bugged, I think, or compiling or something. Or no, actually it's... Oh, okay, it's the shaders. No wonder. Okay, so we have this. And we see that it's constantly growing. So we need to get rid of the scale mesh. Okay. Now we see that it fades away. And we do not want that. So we'll get rid of the scale color. Okay, and it is still like going away. Oh, this color, should we? There we go. Now it's constant. And you see a brief cut. I wonder why. Oh, okay, it's because of this. It dies at 0.8 and it restarts at 1. So we don't want that. Let's just say this is random and it's gonna be random between 1 and maybe 1.3. Okay, that's looking better. It's still a little bit weird, but we can fix that. So for the size of this, we can just say this is a little bit smaller on the sides, and in here just a little bit bigger. How is it looking? Okay, it's a little bit bigger, that's nice. That's not looking bad. Okay, sometimes it's like shutting down. and we need to address that and see what's happening with that. But here on the initialized particle, yeah, I think, yeah, this is fine. 1.9, 1.6, this is just fine. Yep. So what is going on here? Why is it overlapping and dying like that? It's pretty weird, because we do have a color, but it's not fading away and it's just spawning. Just gonna burst spawn 1 and spawn rate 1. Loop count limit only 1. Okay. So how is that looking? No, it cuts. We need to figure out why this is happening. I think, well, there are a couple of things that are coming to mind. And first of all, okay, so this is rotating with the mesh rotation force. And when a new one spawns, they don't have the same position. So then it looks weird. But I think that it's passable. The issue is that on our meter state, we still have this loop delay that we had from the burst. So just put it on 0. And now it should not stop appearing. Yep. There is now some slight overlap. And that's because of the rotation. So let's just take it out. Now it should be fine. But now it looks a little bit too static. So I will say just leave the rotation on. Let's probably just put something softer. Probably just on local. Just put it on 1. Yeah, there is some overlap. I can see it. But let's keep going and see if it's such a big issue once everything is put on together. So we can say, okay, this low thrust is now done. Let's go on the high one this time. And we're gonna be doing mostly the same, right? So put this on infinite. Take away this loop duration, put it on 0 just in case. We don't want a spawn burst. We just want a spawn rate. This spawn rate 2 should be fine. And for the initialized particle, let's say, again, random, 1 and 1.3. Was it 1.3 here? Yeah, fine. No scale mesh, no size, no color here. Well, I do want my preset color, which is here. Fine. And I wonder if the rotation force bugs us too much. No, it looks somewhat fine here. Okay, but we do need to make it longer for sure. So 1.9 should be fine. But here on the mesh renderer, yeah, we should probably just do 0.7, 0.7, and here 2.3. So how is that looking? Let's just preview both of them. Who is having this big stagger? Is it? I don't think it's this one. It's the big one, isn't it? Yeah, I'd say it's having a huge stagger. I feel like we can work it out, but let's keep going for now. Let's preview them together, isolated. Okay, this is looking nice. I like it. Now I wonder, we should have both of these. Yeah, in local space. I wonder what's going on with that rotation force. We can figure it out in a bit, I guess. So now for this inner thrust now. Let's see. I don't see it spawning there. Oh, it's way below, right? Okay. So once again, with this, let's just make it, sorry, here, let's go with infinite, here, infinite, 0, no loop. We want a spawn, although, what if we just test it without a spawn rate? What if it's just 1 and this leaves exactly for 1? Is it the same? Let's take away the scale color. Oh, and without scale sprite size. How is it looking though? Yeah, that's exactly the same. Okay, we can do it either with the spawn rate or with the I mean with the burst or with the spawn rate. Yeah. Okay, so now we need to make it way bigger. So for the initialized particle, we can say what? Maybe 60. Oh, it's just like that. And maybe what, 300 here? That is still very small though. Oh, no, that's actually not bad. So if we just preview this tree together, I think that may be good enough. Although, what if it's only a little bit longer? Maybe wider too. Okay, so 100, 350. Doesn't feel like I modified it, does it? Okay, 300. Okay, now it looks alright. So 200. Okay, I would probably like this to go a little bit higher. So let's just put it a little bit higher. On initialized particle, minus 350. Oh, actually, on the inverse. So minus 200, minus 100. No, minus 150. Okay, maybe around there. Yeah, I think that looks good. A little bit towards here though. Okay. And I feel like the motion is on the wrong side. And we never noticed that. Just gonna go inside this here. Yep, the fire needs to be panning on the other direction. So just 1 here. There we go. Not sure how we didn't realize it before. Like that. Maybe a little bit thinner. We'll see. I'm not sure if I want this on the base or a little bit more here so it feels it. Maybe so it feels it, right? So maybe even longer. Initialized particle, 150 and what, 500. And this can be minus 200. Yeah, I think this looks way better. Okay. So next step, which one is the next one? And I kind of just wanna erase this and say spawn burst 1. And it feels almost the same. Spawn burst 1. Does it still stagger though? Yeah, this is staggering. I feel like I've broken something like this though. Yeah, I don't see this one anymore. Oh, there we go. Oh, it just disappears. It's because it's not exact, is it? Yeah, it's 1. I'm just gonna put it on 1 and 1 and 1. And this one, it's 1, 1. It still fades away. Is it something that I'm missing? Why is it working on the sprite and not on the others? Oh, because we set the loop count limit. Yep, loop count limit 1. So 0. Is it better now? It has a small flicker. Oh, no. It's perfect. Okay. All right, we are solving this together. Okay. This is good. Now, let's see. What if we just continue with this? The distortion should not be growing neither. So again, infinite 1, no loop, and check. The burst, now we see that it's just fine, so just leave it with burst. And with the initialized particle, probably just leave it at 1, so it never loops, right? This is fine. The position offset, I'm not sure if it's fine. This may be a little bit too big, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit too big. So 100 on this. Yep, that's better. Okay. I think that we can just leave this like this, huh? No scale color. No scale sprite size either. Oh, okay, now it's really small. Okay. So we need to crank it up again. So 280. Can it be 280? Still way too small. Wait, but how long is it? Not long enough. So 380 and 220. That should not go higher. Yeah, that's fine. That's good enough. Let's see how these two look together actually. Yeah, they're looking pretty nice. You can make it longer if you want. Just don't go overboard with this distortion thing. Alright, now we just need the sparks. And it's just the same thing, really. For the sparks, let me see. Do we just make it... Well, this needs to be a constant. So spawn rate. And this spawn rate is gonna be, what, 900? We need plenty. Okay, that's looking nice. We want it on infinite. No loop delay. Like this. How is it looking? I don't think we need to make any modification. That's looking nice. They're scaling down as they should. They have drag, collision, that's fine. Let's do the same for these ones. I think we will keep them. 0 loop. No here. So spawn rate. Probably just fewer than the other ones. This is fine. Okay, let's see how the whole picture looks now. Too many colors and it's just way too small. So let's fix that. First thing that comes to mind is this color is perhaps way too soft. If you look at the whole effect, this looks ridiculous compared to the big explosion we had at first. So I'm thinking this spawn burst is not doing... this is not looking correct. It's looking way too static. So we need to make this rotation force work. Just gonna check it. Okay, and you can see it's staggered, right? So what we're gonna do is just mask it. The way that we're gonna do that is just erase this spawn burst, remain with the spawn rate. Let's put 2 of them, and let's make always one last more than the other. So 1 and 2. So this is a little bit more masked. It gives more variation, more rotation, and more color. We may have to make it a little bit bigger and maybe change the color a little bit, you know? Perhaps, what? 6, a little bit more strength. And more on this side, maybe. Yeah, maybe around there, could be. Yep, that's a little bit stronger. I like the variation too. The rotation force is there, fine. This particle is also fine. 1 and 2, that's how it should be, I think. Spawn rate 2, and emitter state is 1, no delay. Okay, fine. Now let's do the same thing with this emitter. So no burst, only spawn rate of 2. Duration is 1, in the emitter is 1 and 2. So yeah, that helps it camouflage a little bit too. That's very good. The color is too soft as well. So once again, let's increase this to perhaps 6. Let's make it perhaps over here. Maybe that's good. So let's see both of these in action. Okay, that's already way more impressive than the ridiculous thing we had before. This is looking way better. Okay, good. Let's keep going. Now with this inner thrust, I think this one is just fine. It's not, but I really want it to be longer. So we're gonna be modifying it once again. Minus 100, that makes it higher. Minus 250, that makes it lower. A little bit, maybe 80. Okay, that's a little bit lower. And I want it to be thinner slightly and longer. So thinner slightly, maybe this, and longer like that. Yeah. Now let's watch this string combination. That is looking better. I feel like we lack something. I feel like we perhaps are lacking something. If we put it here, that's looking already better, but we may be lacking something. I want this blue thing to be even longer. So let's just keep pumping up the numbers for this. 650. Wait, are we making it this longer or no? Okay, yeah, we're all right. 650, and let's make it go lower. Minus 300. Okay, a little bit more. I hope you're not bored with this small tweaking. Yeah. Okay, finally. I think this is good enough. It's long enough. Now, how is that looking with the distortion included? Is this distortion looking long enough? Are we seeing it at all? It doesn't feel like we are. Oh, we need to refresh it. Oh, we're not seeing it. Or at least I don't see it. It needs to be bigger. We just need to exaggerate everything. 250. 450. Okay. How long is it though? Oh, it's not as long as I thought it would be. So it should probably be the same length as this previous one. This is 650, so 650. And the position should probably be the same, so minus 350. Minus 350. Okay. Alright, this is better already. Okay. Now let's also isolate these ones. Okay. There could be a smoother transition between these two colors. For sure. Yeah, right now they are way too different. So let's do that. Yeah, because like they should look like they belong, right? So I think that I'm gonna modify this yellow one slightly closer. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. That's looking a little bit better already. Okay, very good. Now let's work with the sparks then. And for the sparks, I think they were fine, but the two colors, I didn't like how they mixed and matched together, you know? I wasn't really enjoying it. So maybe this will make the colors be softer, perhaps a little bit more on this side, maybe a little bit more whiter, even less of them. Let's see the whole picture now. The radius is too big too, compared to everything on our effect. The radius is way too big, so the sphere shape, maybe 50 or 40. Yeah, 40 is the key, I think. 40 here too. That's looking way better. Are we getting enough sparks though? Are we getting the same error? Yeah, this is fine. Just in case, I'm gonna put a 0.2 on the bounds for the collision. Just in case. Okay. Now, we could even make this bigger. The scale of this effect to be bigger. So this low thrust and high thrust, let's just modify it only a little bit. Here on the mesh render, let's just say 1.1, 1.1. So that's a little bit bigger, or maybe it's a lot. Let me check that. 0.9, 0.9. I don't want the difference between these two to be that much. So 1, 1. I think this is looking quite nice already. Although the sparks are flying way too away from the location. We could just put this a little bit here. And that's, oh, they're colliding with the entrance of the propulsors. Okay, there we go. Let's make them be a little bit more straight on their direction. So minus 300, minus 300. Okay, that should make it a little bit better. There we go. Okay, that's way better. All right, so now if we, let's just, I want to disable this. Okay, and I want to put another here. Perhaps a little bit shorter. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty nice for both of them. We could make them bigger, but the holes are not that big too, so I think this is a good size. We should now make the constant dust on the floor, and then we should be done. Let's save. And one last thing, because I'm really stubborn, is I want this inner thrust to be way bigger. So 200 and 700. Okay, that looks better. I also like how it's blue here on top. This is looking way nice. Now finally, let's make that dust. So dust bound, just again, we duplicate it and we say this is dust constant. That's for when the ship is hovering, you know? So let's open it up and save the thrust constant. I wanna save this just in case. And let's put this on the map. So here, in here, probably this location is fine. So for this dust constant, we only want to make a few modifications, right? Again, emitter state, this should be infinite. And the loop duration, just 1 second. Now, we want to have both the spawn burst and a spawn constant. So we never have those spots free, you know? So spawn burst, okay, 10 is fine, maybe 5. On spawn rate, we can just say this is 10. And okay, you could say, hey, that's almost done. And you will not be incorrect. Maybe we don't want the dust to fly that much further because the initial power from the thrust is gone, right? Now it's a much softer thrust. So, okay, not that much velocity, the cylinder. I think this size is just fine. The scale sprite size is fine. Acceleration force, though, it should accelerate way less, so minus 700. And in here, just put it on 1. That's okay. And let's see if that's fine. Yeah. Let's move it a little bit here. Yeah, I like that. Maybe we make it a little bit bigger, the radius. So is it 200? Is that too much? Yeah, I think that's fine. This is looking quite nice. Now we just need to modify the dust impact. Well, now it's no longer impact, but I mean, you can modify it if you want, as always. Infinite, the loop duration, probably just 1. We can leave this at without as a burst. We can just say spawn rate. And this is 500 spawn rate. We can be generous with this. And probably we don't want this initial force of the shape. Can make it smaller. The velocity should be way different. Not linear anymore, just from point, that's fine. 500 is good too. The drag, I think it's cool. Let's see. It should not go up. Never, because the force is constant here, right? So the gravity, now it should really be minus. Acceleration is fine, curl force is fine. Yep, now a little bit more radius and speed. So, okay, never mind. We always end up increasing the radius. A little bit stronger downwards. And maybe some collision too. Do we want to have collision? No, probably we don't want to have collision. But we do want them to go downwards and to the sides. There are way too many right now, I think, too. So spawn rate probably just 300. And velocity from point 1K. And the gravity force, gravity force should be stronger, minus 800. I enjoy that, but for this constant dust, the modes, I feel like they should be way smaller, you know? 0.3 and 2.5. Okay, so this should be it. This should make your ship be ready. You have the engines with constant power for when they're flying, and for when it's landing you have this dust. Let's actually, before leaving, take a look at how this looks. Take a look at how this looks. So just wanna dust down Thrust spawn, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine 2 of these. Okay, this is gonna look awesome. So I hope that you had fun, that you learned a lot again, and big shout out to KitBash for giving us this kit to make some really cool effects with. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.